Hello and welcome back to Jolie's. Today we are going to be watching ShoeOnHead's most recent video, Why Do They Hate Sydney Sweeney? Let's get into it.
So if you've been living under a rock, you probably haven't heard that Sydney Sweeney was in an American Eagle commercial.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
Get it? Genes? Jeans?
Yes.
Because she's attractive? And she is.
I'm sure Shoe's going to get into this, but this is supposedly just like kind of a rehash of a former American Eagle ad from like the 90s with Brooke Shields making the same general, I guess, pun, you would say. So let's see if she addresses that, and let's see where this all goes to. But I'm just going to state my opinion overall so far is I don't see anything wrong with the ad. It's a play on words. It's a very attractive woman. When have they not been used to sell things? Pretty much everything under the sun. The only thing I would have to say to the ad is I think it pales in comparison to that recent Levi's commercial I've been seeing that is more, like it's just a little broader. It's like, everybody hang out at a diner wearing Levi's. I think it's Levi's. I could be wrong. And they're all like kind of like countryed up, and there's some cowboys, and it's way more, I don't know, for me. But at the same time, I don't see anything wrong. I wouldn't buy American Eagle. The American Eagle ad didn't really hit me, but I also didn't think it was, well, she's about to get into it.
See why men like her. She has a really cute face and a nice body. But personally, my favorite thing about Sydney Sweeney is that she's a Nazi. Did they mean to include a bunch of Nazi dog whistles in this? How the f did she agree to this? Actual Nazi ad. The only way Sydney Sweeney would be okay with doing an ad like this is if she was a Nazi.
This is Nazi shit.
Yeah. Words that have lost meaning for 1,000. Alec. I guess we can't say Alec anymore. Or we shouldn't. I mean, we should update it. Ken. Nazi is it's such a catch-all. It's also like one of those things, and in light of recent events, I've kind of, I'm very more and more think, glad I'm a fence sitter in light of the most recent events that happened with Charlie Kirk just this past week. But one thing I do have to say is it seems as though that anybody on the right, anybody on the left criticizing anybody on the right, they think like right-wing politics, it seems, is just a direct pipeline to Nazism, as though there's not other forms of being a right-wing person. And and I'm not saying that as like a way of being like, how should I say? It's just like, it is almost like, and I think it's annoying when the other side does it too, where they say anybody who is liberal or left is instantly a radical Marxist or tanky. Yes, some people are, but there's other stops along the way. There's other like measures along the way. And it's a wide country, just like both political ideologies. It's a pretty wide country, and a lot of them don't get along with each other, even if they're on the same side of the compass.
That is being racist.
Oh my goodness.
Some of you guys might be too young to remember, but back in the day when an ugly girl was jealous of a pretty girl, she would simply call her a whore. But that's a good thing now, so we have to call her racist. I am going to be completely honest, I have no idea what movies Sydney Sweeney is in. All I know, she is a very popular...
I could probably name 3. Well, let's see, wait. She was in Madam Web, she was in Anyone But You, and, oh man, I know she was in Euphoria, but that's a TV show, so I don't really want to count it. I feel like if I could name one more Sydney Sweeney movie, I'd be pretty happy with myself. If it comes to me, I'll get back to it.
Celebrity. And I always see discourse on Twitter about her being mid.
Mid? Like midwife, I want to get those boobies in my mouth. Give me those milkas. No, it's ridiculous. I don't know. Are we? Is it the women calling her mid, or is it the wild guys? Yet again, it's so funny how two people of opposite persuasions could potentially be agreeing on such vile and reality warping takes.
What is wrong with you people? Who is not mid nowadays? I saw Anne Hathaway.
Well, I'm glad. You know what? I'm proud to be mid. I think that's a bump up.
Get called mid the other day.
What?
Anne Hathaway.
What?
If these women are mid, I'm like a sub-zero. I'm like a -2. I am like a horseshoe crab on the bottom of the ocean. Horseshoe crabs are pretty base though. 445 million years, no evolution. That's me. Millions of years on YouTube, no evolution. Sydney Sweeney has like a fun, bubbly personality. She seems like she enjoys being feminine, and it seems like she doesn't hate men, which is a big plus. She really plays into the like, I'm a hot blonde bombshell, I have big titties thing, which, are we back to liking titties as a society?
Yes, 100%. I think we discovered too much butt gets in the way of the action. It's like you have to really, pull it out of there and really get in. You kind of want a good, nice, firm, plump butt. But there is, just like with the boobies, we realized recently that there is too much. You can't have too much of a good thing. I think we realized that with boobs earlier, like in the 90s or something like that, cite sources. And then we got to the like extreme end of that. And then we had to the pendulum swings and it went to the butt. And now we realize there's too much butt. So now what we want, what anybody, whether you have them or you want them in your mouth, you just want a really solid pair. You know what? This is one time when yet again, being in the high point of the bell curve, like being just good butt, good tits is like the ideal situation. You don't want to be radical butt, you don't want to be radical tits, or you don't want to be like have radical on both ends and heaven for, sorry if this is you. I mean, sometimes I see a woman who has less boob than me and I feel a little bit, just a little. But then I remember even small titties are glorious. Mwah.
Kim Kardashian deflate her ass recently. That's how I knew the ass fad was over. The fall of Kim Kardashian's ass and the rise of Sydney Sweeney. Besides, ass, titties, no, I don't objectify women. I respect women, okay? The only thing that matters to me is a woman's mind. And thighs. What is like the male body equivalent?
I'm just going to say, I think personally, like mouth area means a lot more. I don't know. Now I'm just getting into my own preferences and, I don't want to go as far as to say fetishes, but my own, looks preferences. But I do think eyes and mouth are actually, the thing. Oh, and the ankles. They cover them yams, ladies. I'm oogling and ogling.
Into this debate. Abs or arms? Personally, I love a good forearm. I love a good, nice, thick, manly wrist. And you know what looks great on a wrist? A watch. Which brings us to today's sponsor, Holtzkern. So let's quickly give them a shout out before we get into today's video, shall we? Holtzkern is a young Austrian company that creates unique watches, jewelry, and accessories using all natural materials like wood and stone. Their high-quality timepieces come in various designs for both men and women, making them the perfect choice for any style or occasion. All of Holtzkern's products are manufactured in small quantities to ensure responsible and ethical production, while making sure each item is built to last.
Tomorrow my brother is marrying his boyfriend, and I'm very proud of him. And he actually came out to my father, not to lay out all the family laundry, but, I'm very proud of him. And it would be nice to have a nice watch to wear to that wedding, something that is like more of a fashion piece.
And it's water resistant as well.
And I am in no shape to afford such a thing. Hey, could you like and subscribe to this video, and maybe someday I can afford a fashionable watch instead of just a functional smartwatch like a plebe?
I think all their products make very beautiful gifts, and since they're all made from natural materials, they're all very unique. All their items come with a 2-year warranty, and ordering online is super easy with free worldwide shipping within 5 to 9 business days. And if you're in the US, don't worry, Holtzkern handles the custom feeds for you, so no unexpected drama there. Just click my link in the description below and use my special discount code
Just curious, are we,
to get 15%
if y'all
off
believe
your
that we're
order.
done with
Plus,
ethical
if you additionally
reacts
sign up
and
for
we
their
can
free
skip the
premium
ads
club
again,
membership, you'll get
let me know in the
access to
comments.
exclusive products,
When I was
special
first
discounts,
starting
and
this
early
channel, I
pre-sales.
did some research
But if you only wanna check
and
things
I'm time I found that
no
people
pressure. You can just sign up, come
suggested
back
let the
later,
ads
and you'll
run,
still get a
but
special discount on your first purchase.
I don't know if
So
that's,
if you're looking for a
you know,
unique gift or
it's
just
kind of
want
like
to
a flight
treat
of fancy
yourself
that's
to a
already
nice
passed.
watch, I highly
So
suggest
if
checking
you
out
don't, if y'all won't get mad at
Big
me
thank
for
you to
skipping the
Holster
ads,
for
I'll
sponsoring
see
this
about cutting
video.
them out in the
And
future.
now, let's get back to it. My jeans are brown.
Yes. Oh my God, Shue, you can't be doing
Sounds
that
like
to
I
me.
my pants.
The woke outrage over Sydney.
Oh my God, that is storytelling. That's you just turn people's like feelings on a dime. You get somebody horned up, then you turn them disgusted. You get somebody like you sad, and you make them happy. You know, you're anxious and relieved. That's storytelling. And Shue, you just nailed it. And when storytelling is great and goes on the right axis, it is hilarious.
Sweeney's ad has gone from, well, bad to worse.
Some people have taken issue with the phrase great genes being used over images of a blonde, blue-eyed woman.
If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much.
What the great salesman, Donald Trump, right there. You know, folks, that is ultimately what it is. If she's on my team, she's great. I would have preferred him just being like, I don't see anything wrong with her ad. It's a hot young woman selling something. That's what I've been doing for years. It shouldn't have come down to political parties, but he likes his allegiances.
Everybody.
TikTok and Twitter absolutely blew up with thousands and thousands of people calling this ad fascist propaganda. Yes, they
Losing all meaning is what I'm afraid of. That's why the fence exists, that you must sit upon it and only get off when it is absolutely imperative to take a side. If that was fascist propaganda, and you're going to call it that, then we're going to lose the word for fascist propaganda when it actually comes around. That was just an ad meant to get people to want to buy jeans. And I don't think like I said, I think the Levi's ad was much more of the moment. I think, how about this? Just let the market decide. We don't need to be, flaming people and on Twitter. You don't need to spend the news. This is how down the news cycle was when this ad came out versus today. This event over a month ago, old, probably more than a month old. Shue got to it probably like a month after it hit the airwaves, because she does her research and compiles things and writes a script and edits. She actually puts out good videos, unlike some people who are right in front of you. But so to give you an idea, open up Twitter today. If you're watching this video when I post it, open up Twitter, and you're going to see that it is not a slow news cycle. In fact, things got really heated really quickly, and there's been I would say, for when it comes to liberals and everybody on the left side of the aisle taking L's in public, I think, when it comes to being the bad guys of the story, if you will, or not looking good in the story, I think it's almost like a 3 strikes and they are out for the season.
really took the jeans and jeans pun to be some kind of Nazi dog whistle, because Sydney Sweeney is an attractive blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, which
and possibly a Republican. How dare she?
apparently has been an extinct species for so long in advertisement that when people saw this, they got scared and thought they saw the ghost of Hitler. Is Sydney Sweeney a Nazi? No. But do these people kind of have a point about this ad? Also no. They are unwell. But let's hear them out. Let's watch some of these TikToks. Let's listen to them. Listen to their points. We're not going to be mean. We're not going to own the libs, okay? We are going to hear them out.
You guys are complaining about that Sydney Sweeney jeans ad, so I went and saw it.
That's Nazi propaganda.
Oh!
I don't like falling, or it's hard not to want to, take up memes from either side of the political aisle, but the people with the horseshoe, the nose ring theory recently, they're onto something. They're definitely onto something.
Holy 2014 Tumblr. What the out here looking like she walked straight out of a Stone Toss comic. Looking like you're going on the thumbnail of this video. Listen, if your bangs end in the middle of your forehead, you don't have to tell me your political opinions. I know them. I can tell. Okay, sorry. I got it out of my system. Let's continue.
I will be.
No, she didn't. I What did I just say? Let's count them. I think that's 2 nose rings.
Be the friend that's too woke, because those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird.
You don't have to preface by saying you're the friend who's too woke. Everything about you, the flag in the background. I mean, if you were maybe out on the streets walking around, I could have believed. No, pretty much everything else about you would have already told me everything I needed to know.
Like fascist weird. Like Nazi propaganda weird.
So this commercial was apparently a reference to an old Brooke Shields commercial from the 80s.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations.
I wish she would found. I mean, this had to have been shot on film. There's probably like a nice preserved version of this. Maybe she wanted to keep that grain and that like digitizedness to prove that, you know, as an indicator of it being the 80s. But I'm sure you could find a pristine version of this ad if you looked hard.
This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
Calvin Klein jeans.
Oh my God, she turned.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't American Eagle. It was just Calvin. It was Calvin Klein. But yeah, it's a pun so simple that people will come up with it again and think that they've discovered, you know, put a man on the moon. You know, they've discovered the meaning of life. It's like one of those things that it's just you get enough time, something, you know, the idea was good enough. Here, this is what I'm saying. The idea was good enough that it made enough of a splash culturally to be known, but then fade away to the point where somebody else independently came up with the idea and they thought they had it originally.
Turns into a swastika. She was like 14 in that ad, by the way. Really creepy. So at least Sydney Sweeney is of legal age. 14 is actually pretty old for Brooke Shields if you know her history and her lore. If anything, that is the most up thing about this Sydney Sweeney ad, referencing an old ad of a child star who was abused by Hollywood. But yeah, it was a callback to an old commercial. And Sydney Sweeney is the current day hot celebrity, so they chose to do it with her. They unfortunately failed to consider the fact that in current year, white people are not allowed to say that they have good genes because that is Nazi propaganda.
A blonde?
You know what? I'm going to say it for the camera. Clip this if you want to when, you know, my inevitable day in the sun comes. I think I have good genes. I often still get, you know, confused for my age. I mean, it has its drawbacks, but I feel like I'm aging slower. My dad is in his late 70s and nearly 80, actually. Oh, my God. Anyways, my dad is like of an age where he would think that he wouldn't even be able to, like, you know, keep his life going together. And unfortunately, he didn't plan for retirement, much like me. I guess apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but he is still able to provide for himself and work. So, I mean, if I'm taking after him, I'm not going to be doing okay. I would like to, you know, it would be cool to spread this genetics and keep this line going with this, whatever gene I have that makes my aging, you know, slightly slower. Like a decade behind. Anyways, just a thought. But yeah, I'm white. I have good genes.
Haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
You don't get to...
You don't know what Nazi propaganda is, lady.
Drop lines about inherited traits, blue eyes, and great genes while zooming in on somebody that could have walked straight off of a Nazi propaganda poster.
A white, blonde, blue-eyed, Hitler's wet dream talking about how much she loves her genetics. It's not just giving eugenics, it's giving male fantasy.
I like how you...
Oh, even worse, the male fantasy. Oh.
Eugenics and being attractive to men are like equally terrible things to these people.
Sydney Sweeney's jeans ad is giving ethnic state propaganda. It is giving dystopian. It is giving 1940s Germany.
Why do they all speak the same? Why do they all do the same shit? They all say the same shit. It's
because it's an echo chamber. It's like, this is the definition of echo chamber right here. With these ads, or with these people reacting to the ads, because most likely they didn't even have the original thought. It's not like they saw the ad and thought originally, oh, this is, you know, Nazi propaganda. They heard somebody else claim it to be. So one person had the good idea. Maybe, like 4 people independently saw the ad who are like hawks and want to find things that they can claim are Nazi propaganda or some other form of fascism. And they put it out there and sowed the seeds. And then this is just all the leaves. We're just seeing the leaves, coming off the flower.
Giving. It's giving.
Put a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, fair-skinned woman in an ad and say she has good genes. I don't know if I can say this, but it's literally giving Nazi propaganda.
It's giving. Also, the flesh-colored microphone? Why? It's giving dick, okay? It's giving penis. It's giving cock.
I can't believe I actually have to explain this, but there is a reason that they picked a girl named Sydney Sweeney.
Oh my God. Oh, they picked a woman named Sydney Sweeney. Her name happens to be Sydney Sweeney, and she's attractive. Like her name could have been like they didn't pick Brooke Shields like what for BS. They didn't pick her for bullshit.
For this ad, and it's not just her blonde hair and her blue eyes. Sydney Sweeney is laying with her German Shepherd dog in this shoe. Her name is Sydney Sweeney, so her initials are SS. They intentionally included her German Shepherd dog in the photo shoot.
Oh.
So my mom just told me that she has, I forgot the name, but it's like a disease that's like eating away at her retinas and it's genetic. So wait, maybe I don't have such good genes. That's the thing. On the long run, you don't know. I also had very bad digestive system inherited from my grandfather on my mom's side that caused me to have massive surgery just a few years ago. Anyways, I nearly died. Anyways, I'm worried that if I keep watching videos like this, I'm going to roll my eyes so hard that my weakened retinas will detach. But I'm doing it for y'all. Please like and subscribe.
My God. Take your meds. Meds. Her name is Sydney Sweeney. Her initials are SS, like the Nazis. The dog is a German Shepherd. German, like the Nazis. Are they putting crack in birth control nowadays? What is going on? She is a hot woman. She is a hot woman because of the way she looks. Mm-hmm. She looks the way she looks because of genetics. She has great genes. That is how a normal person sees it. She's blonde and has blue eyes and her initials are SS and she has a German Shepherd. Is how a schizophrenic, politically brain-rotted person sees it.
Hi, thanks for calling American Eagle. This is Jess. How can I help today?
Hi, I am a marketing student and was wondering if I could speak to someone who could maybe give me some insight as to what estimated return on investment there has to be willing to use white supremacy and eugenics as your marketing campaign.
On a marketing campaign?
Harassing some...
Peak Karen behavior. Just call anybody randomly who's associated with the company. She could have kept that grift going. She could have maybe gotten up the line. If she had been polite to that customer service person and didn't reveal her hand, she might have gotten in contact with somebody at the marketing department, and then she could have let loose on them. If she really thinks that it is, and also it's probably not a person in the marketing department in American Eagle. It's a marketing company that works with American Eagle. American Eagle signed off on it, of course, but there probably wasn't like a specific or super hyper specific marketing department. It was probably like a conglomerate of, department heads who just decided, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That's a great pitch. Have you watched Mad Men?
Poor worker. Doesn't even fucking speak English. Has all to do with the commercial. 100%. These people are sick.
Yes, I recently saw American Eagle's eugenics marketing campaign where they used that white blonde girl and talked about how good her genes were in a time where racism is rampant in the U.S.
I see. Thank you for taking time to share your feedback.
Why are you bothering this random-ass Filipino woman with your West Wing-ass TED Talk? Nobody gives a
Fuck the West Wing.
Okay, so there's no way to, as a student, I can't learn about when eugenics makes sense in marketing? No one on the marketing team can talk to me about that?
I miss like 50 years ago when these people would just be serial killers instead of doing whatever the this is. Mm-hmm. She's even got other celebrities seething.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue,
Haha, she did a dumb redneck voice. Get it? Because all white people are dumb inbred hicks.
Yeah, that sounded nothing like her. You could have gotten there. You could have. I think the right approach would have been to go with the Airhead Valley girl kind of aesthetic. God, where are you still telling me? Okay, I guess it was still high.
Good one, Doja. Hey, by the way, why are you pandering to the same exact people who got your ass canceled for wearing a Sam Hyde shirt once? They all think you're racist too, girl, but nice try. Hope they see this.
Doja Cat is making fun of Sydney Sweeney's ad only because she realized after all those years of her kissing up to white supremacists, they're never going to accept her because she's a half-black woman. Wearing the Sam Hyde shirt, you dating all these white supremacists. So make fun of the ad all you want, but we'll never forget you rolling around in those chat rooms showing white supremacists your feet so they can make fun of your black ass.
Oh, they did see it, and they still hate you.
Weird adverts.
Yeah, it's like you're not, with the far extremes of this, you're not going to, win back. You might as well double down, it seems. If you're going to jump off the fence, double down. But better to be on the fence here with us on Jolie's.
Decide about how the best genes are characterized in a conventionally attractive white, blonde, blue-eyed woman? Not true. I mean, look at me. Within 5 years, or as soon as she shows any sign of aging, that's it. The moment she becomes visibly over 25.
Enjoy the ride now, babe, before you get too old and ugly and hit the wall. But wokely. This is just something I've noticed in the decade of criticizing feminism on the internet. Male feminists are the most misogynistic, sexist freaks ever when they finally have an acceptable, approved target to go after. God forbid you are a woman with the incorrect opinion, because hell hath no fury like a male feminist replying to you.
A strawberry blonde, blue-eyed woman marketing having great...
Hey, let me know in the comments. Is Sydney Sweeney a strawberry blonde? I've never understood that term. I thought she was just blonde. Maybe I have something to learn. I would have said golden-haired blonde, versus more platinum hair blonde. But let me know. I am very ignorant to this. There's certain things I just did not pick up on when it comes to describing people's appearance. Not good for somebody who wants to be a writer.
Genes. This is just a whole fucking eugenics campaign, and I, for one, would like to throw myself off a balcony.
Do it. Do a backflip. Live stream it. Also, these people just straight up don't know what the eugenics movement is. Talking about genetics is not eugenics. Sydney Sweeney did not say she had the best genes or superior genes or that other people had bad, inferior genes. Someone even made it like a fake ad, like, Beyonce has better genes, and it's like, why'd you pick the picture where she has like a blonde wig on?
This campaign is poking at women's greatest and most tender insecurity under the patriarchy, which is desirability and the beauty standard. It affects not only non-white women, even though this is clearly white supremacist, Aryan race propaganda, but it also adversely affects the majority of white women who do not naturally have blonde hair and blue eyes. Because yes, even the women who can achieve this look have to do it through artificial means in one way or another. The vast majority of white women are not naturally blonde. And of course, lots of white women are also insecure about having brown eyes. So that's a whole generation of young white women who are being further propagandized to purchase blonde hair dye and contacts for the rest of all time.
Okay, what? Are attractive women just not allowed to model anymore because, like, God forbid it makes some other women insecure? And as someone with brown eyes, I've never once felt insecure about having brown eyes. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna get into Hyperborea, but I've seen myself photoshopped with blue eyes. Horrifying. So we've gone from Nazi propaganda.
Most of the time, yeah, your features all are meant to work together in concert. I think blue eyes, it works best for advertising because it creates contrast. Same with blonde hair. It's unique. I'm not saying it's not necessarily better. It's just a man bites dog kind of situation. You don't always see a blonde. So when you see a blonde, you might zero in. It might cause you to skip a beat. See blue eyes, it might cause you to skip a beat. But I'll tell you, most of the women that I've been with have beautiful eyes no matter the color. And I'm not just saying that because I can't remember the colors of their eyes.
to genocide, to racism, to now poor little girls are gonna feel insecure because they don't have blue eyes like Sydney Sweeney.
Another thing about the Sydney Sweeney beauty standard that is very important to note is that big boobs are a hallmark of what conservative men are attracted to.
What? Conservative men? I guess every man's a conservative. Am I right, fellas? Let's all get in the truck. Yeehaw.
The end of the early 2000s and through the 2010s, we were becoming a more progressive society, and so we also naturally progressed to be a more ass-centric society.
I did not know that was what defined a liberal versus conservative, a boob man versus an ass man. I just thought we all kind of, collectively. I want to speak for men here a little bit. I mentioned it earlier. I think we just got a little tired of boobs. They were over relied upon, just like anything else. You see too many boobs out there. You just start, you start glazing over, and all of a sudden the butt became the thing that we are all like, hey, secretly the butt's really cool. When that's big, I'll take or leave big boobs, but butts, And then, it starts out as a little secret amongst a group, The same thing happens with lingo in the gay culture and black culture. And then it kind of gets exposed to the mainstream culture, straight or white, or in this case, women find out about men starting to talk about how they prefer butts. And then it goes crazy and everybody loses their mind. They overuse, they exploit, and they keep pressing the get people's attention button. And then it becomes too much. It loses all meaning. People just go cross-eyed, and all of a sudden now I can't see another big. I don't care if I see another big butt. Butts don't do it for me. You know who's waiting in the wings? The boobs, and they're ready to go strutting. And Sydney Sweeney was just the right woman at the right time to be like, boobs are coming back, and I got the best ones, or at least I have the best ones and acting ability, or something to that effect.
In the 2000s, we were becoming more progressive, so we started objectifying women's butts.
Yeah.
What? The communist utopia will be ass-centric, apparently. I didn't know the ass first thing was political. How does she know conservatives are all boob men? Conservatives in the audience, are you a boobs or butt guy? What?
As a fence sitter, both. It's Congress. It's a woman's beauty is the sum of all of those things multiplied by her personality and heart. Ba 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 ba.
Political affiliation are the feet men, libertarians.
I would actually
listen. They can try to disguise it with their little intersectionality buzzwords all they want, but at the end of the day, women just want a socially acceptable reason to hate other women.
Yes,
that's it.
Good genes passed on to offspring. That American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is literally overt eugenics. I know you don't want to hear this, but if you want to talk about how that ad is promoting eugenics, which it absolutely is, we also have to talk about how choosing not to wear a mask when you can during an ongoing pandemic, because you're okay with a certain subset of people, primarily disabled people of color, dying for your own comfort, is also eugenics.
1 second. $2025.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about wearing masks for COVID in 2025. I like how she's woke scolding the other woke scolds for not woke scolding about her particular pet issue. COVID broke the brains of so many of these people, man. It's because it's when the world...
I don't think we're ever going to recover our generation. I think millennials, this is our critical, amongst everything else. Because the Zoomers got our number. They could roast us for days before COVID happened, and then COVID happened. And it broke most of us in different ways. I think I wouldn't even claim to be non-broken myself, honestly. I think other things broke me, though. I was broken before COVID.
was just a giant...
Wait, that's actually is kind of like my personality type, to want to be ahead of the curve on all these things. It's like, I was crazy before it was cool to be crazy, before we all got our excuse with COVID. I was already an outlier. I was already not part of your system, man. That basically kind of sums me up. I mean, I was like one of the first people to grow my hair long in high school. I think I do felt like I was like just ahead of the trends on a couple of things, and maybe this is one of them.
safe
being a loser.
HR Longhouse, where it was socially acceptable for them to be moral busybodies and never leave their home. It was like the closest to their lib shit utopia that we have ever gotten, and they miss it.
I remember growing up in a predominantly white community, wishing myself out of this body, out of this culture, take my name, if it meant that I could wake up blonde-haired and blue-eyed, never having to explain who I am or worry about being accepted. That is why this American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is especially off-putting.
Listen,
I will say that I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if the shoe was on the other foot, if you're on the other side of the fence, you would have also wanted to stick out. You would have been like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be unique. I would like to be a beautiful, tan skinned, curly haired girl from some that is exotic. It goes both ways. Basically, we all go through our insecurity phase and we all wish we were somebody else. And the difference is for some people, they learn to embrace who they are. Some people find out who they are is not, or who they seem to be, or who they present isn't exactly who they want to be. And they change themselves in various ways. And sometimes that works, and sometimes they were misguided and it was a phase, but that's a whole other can of worms. But I would say that, in a long enough timeline, most people will come to love who they are. If there's not something truly off about who you are, you will, on a long enough timeline, learn to love yourself. And you should learn to love yourself. So yeah, that's the short and the long of it. I think that she would have gone through something different if she had been like everybody else. And it would have also probably, based off her moral rigor, would have defined her and made her somehow, she would have just been like one of these white women. That's what I'm saying. She would have been a white woman with a nose ring.
Sorry that happened to you, but we live in a predominantly white country. If you go to another country, there will be a different beauty standard. If you go to the country of your ancestors, there will be a different beauty standard, and maybe it will look more like you. But again, she didn't say her genes were better or the best, and it's not like all the hot popular celebrities look like Sydney Sweeney. Look at Ana de Armas. Look at Zendaya. They don't look anything.
100%. Thank you, Shoe. That is such a great point. We are attracted to attractive people, and attractive people come in all different skin colors. They come in primarily an assortment of shapes, hourglass to, tall, and, sometimes, there's some thick, stout ones that get us, from time to time. But aside from that, I mean, yes, it's not about the skin tone. It's about the facial features, probably the hair and the body size. And the skin tone is more of just a, modifier that gives you different flavors.
Like Sydney Sweeney, and they are known as very beautiful around Hollywood. This is why corporations and the media think in order to pander to the female gaze, everything has to be average and frumpy and ugly, because women can't stop projecting their insecurities.
I mean, I will say this, women are doing such a lot of women out there, not all of them, a lot of women out there are doing such a poor job of, playing up to their strengths in terms of being attractive, that men, that's going to be, no, I'll say it because I'm not even talking about trans. Let's say that. I'm talking about the finsters of the world. There's plenty of guys who are effeminate who just go full onto it and make themselves as beautiful as they can, and they are kicking your ass. Finster is a beautiful lady boy, and I am going to go on record saying that. So that's just basically it's there's a beautiful woman gap that is being filled by people who don't even identify as being 100% woman. They just put themselves on the spectrum somewhere, nebulously, but just embrace femininity. I mean, I'll just let you know, as my audience, I am attracted to femininity, not necessarily to cis women. I do find many cis women attractive, but femininity takes the cake. And there's plenty of dudes out there who can be more effeminate than the ladies. So if I just told on myself, I just told on myself. If you want to flame me in the comments, please, but I am a flamer. You know why they call me Jolie? Because I'm that bitch Dolly warned you about.
Not every character in a movie or a video game has to look like you. Not everyone in an ad has to look like you. Hell, the only time I see people who look like me is when I turn on the live-action Grinch movie. You notice men never say this shit, by the way?
Oh
they usually.
God, she is so harsh on herself. She is a very beautiful woman. Wait. Oh, wait. She wasn't talking about the Grinch. She was talking about the Who girl. Oh. Okay, that's fair.
Like, wow, that man is strong. I don't look like that. I'm gonna go to the gym. And women are like, wow, that woman is thin. I don't look like that. I'm gonna go complain.
What to make Sydney Sweeney's jeans better? Like, why did you get that joke? All us woke people are saying is that it's just a little bit weird to directly reference European jeans as better.
Again, she never said that her jeans were better. You are making shit up.
Now, when you think of the all-American girl, like the standard of like American beauty, you probably think blonde hair, blue eyes, white.
No, you're painting a different picture. I was actually thinking brunettes kind of are like the American beauty. I would say brunettes with brown or green eyes in my head. Like, we're just talking about, like, you know, if you're telling me to paint a picture in my head, don't paint it for me.
Girl, right? You're not supposed to think that way.
You're not supposed to think that way, guys. That's double plus ungood.
That's ingrained in you because of negative things that have been pushed on you by society.
When you think about the all-American woman, you should be thinking about an obese, transgender, disabled woman or something. What would be an acceptable vision of the American woman for this person? It's insane she's saying that we think Sydney Sweeney is hot because of negative.
Also, yeah, because like you can't, like, let's face it, like it's like you can't have both. And maybe this person, I mean, based on their look, they might have been poly. I mean, I've known a few. I've floated in those communities before. I've made my mistakes. But most people can't date. They don't want to date a lineup to get, you know, the beauties of all types and all cultures represented in somebody's. You'd have to have a lineup of, like, you know, 5 to 8 different people, depending, you know, and then it's also genders, you know, what are we talking about, you know, female beauty or male beauty? But you would have to get a lineup, and you can't date a lineup. You shouldn't. I would highly recommend not trying to date a lineup of people. I would just say I used to be a monogamy hater, and then I tried polygamy, or poly. I shouldn't say polygamy. They hate that. I tried poly, and let's just say not going back there. But you can't date a lineup. Most guys can't. They neither can financially or mentally afford to date a lineup. So you're going to have to layer it down to one. You can only be with one person, and you're going to want to be with somebody you find beautiful. So yeah, it's going to be defined as something. It's going to be, you know, a black-skinned, curly-haired woman, or maybe a brown-skinned, wavy-haired woman with brown hair. Maybe it is a white woman, but maybe she has red hair. And they're all beautiful. They all have the capacity to be beautiful. Come on now.
Things that have been pushed on us by society. No, we have eyes. And just because she is attractive does not mean you are also not attractive. Look at your full lips. That is a standard of beauty I'll never live up to, but that's okay, because I have other things that are beautiful and unique about me, just like you have other things that are beautiful and unique about you, regardless if Sydney Sweeney is held up as the American beauty standard. These are lessons your mother should have taught you, not a YouTuber. Sydney Sweeney's ad shows a cultural shift towards whiteness. Advertisements are always mirrors of society, and sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
A white woman. Oh, the fucking author is white. I hate these people, man. Shut up. Shut up.
We just need to take writing away from most people, like the internet. Maybe you should have to, I don't know, take a test to be online, to have your work published. I mean, I guess they did take a test, and that was like, you know, going through the college system and kissing the right asses, and, you know, being born into the right families, and, you know, heaven forbid her, like, what is her privileges? What are her genetics, you know, benefiting her? Yeah, just, you know, just something to think about.
It's one thing when it's like a non-white person talking about how white people suck. It's like, okay, you're just racist. But when it's a white person talking about white people suck, you need to be ground up into a pulp and fed to livestock. You would honestly be more useful that way. Ads are always mirrors of society, and sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. Popular American culture is, indisputably, becoming more puritanical and more conservative.
I would agree with puritanical, but that's mostly from, like, you know, the HR ladies, I think. You know, it's like I feel like the most sex negative people out there are liberal women. Prove me wrong, but that's the feeling I have. That means something.
Puritanical? The focus of the ad was her tits and ass.
Yes.
This is not at all a conservative 100%. Pure.
Oh, and jeans, which implies sex. It's like we're talking about jeans. Duh.
Puritanical ad. Have you seen what the puritanical right thinks of Sydney Sweeney? They think she's a whore, okay? They think
she revealed her boobs in that TV show where the kids do drugs. Yes, it's like, do you really think that they, you know, the real extremists on the right side are going to, like, be flaunting her? Like, they hate anybody who's ever been in front of a camera for the most part, unless it was for a Christian broadcast or to debate godless liberals on college campuses. Rest in peace, Charlie.
The backlash has been swift and fierce, and some of it, at least if you ask me, is fair. The internet has been quick to condemn the advertisement as non-inclusive at best. Non-inclusive? Why the f does everything have to be inclusive? It's a commercial with one f***ing person in it. Sweeney exudes a source of vintage sexiness that caters to the male gaze. She embodies the near mythological girl next door beautiful but low maintenance sexy femininity that dominated the media in the 1990s and early 2000s. Oh wow, that sounds great. You're telling me that's fascism? Waiter, more fascism please. What the f? It's just so funny, like, the left is currently losing their mind about how, like, they need to get young men to vote for Democrats again, and here they are, like, blondes with big is are fascism. Listen.
Like, yeah, it's if these folks are to maintain their status as the cultural commentators, they're not going to move the needle on getting young men back to the Democratic Party because they can't help but shove their foot so far down their mouth that they start gagging and crying from it. Because, well, I could make some sort of lewd comments about because they would rather something else be going that far down their mouth, but they just, you know, scare it away every single time that it gets near them. Yes, this is the thing. It's like, you know, you can't. People don't change their stripes, is like often said, and I do earnestly believe that outside of like traumatic self-rediscovery. And so these folks who keep criticizing Sydney are these folks who keep wondering why the party is losing young males, yet they are going to keep writing these. You know, there's bound to be like another freaking, what is it, man-spreading video around the corner at some point. And I will go on record. I think that amongst many things, I should do the man-spreading video. I should react to this old liberal commentary video stuff that got us to where we are. Like old video essays that, you know, convinced me and a whole bunch of other people that, you know, it just took one source with an opinion to like know everything about a topic. And, you know, basically any Gawker, or that wasn't Gawker, was it? It was BuzzFeed. All that old shit, you know, that's probably like digging their own grave for the, you know, the Democratic Party having the youth vote, especially the male youth vote, for any time soon.
The alt-right pipeline does not start with the American Eagle ad. It starts with you. What are you doing? This is not at all a conservative far-right ad. It's just a normal ad that would have ran like 15 years ago. But I guess that's what being far-right is nowadays. Being normal from 15 years ago. I love this random part of the article, though. Young women are being radicalized through so-called clean skincare and healthy eating. So fascism is hot people eating healthy and having clean skin. Goebbels himself could not make better propaganda. Literally, as I am editing this video, the New York Times comes out with his opinion piece, Why the Right is Obsessed with Thinness. I would really, really appreciate if people stop.
We should all have some respect. Go look at a picture just taken on the street before 1970, like before high fructose corn syrup. And I'm one of those people. I believe we really fucked up this nation's health with one simple thing, and it was high fructose corn syrup. Not vaccines, not, I don't know, video games. They're always to blame. High fructose corn syrup. Go look at it and tell me that if you took somebody and plop them out of the 1970s and drop them into today and have them go to a public space, they would think something. They would be like Wall-E getting on the Axiom. They would just be like, what happened? And I'm saying this as somebody who needs, I need to figure this out. So for me, it was alcohol. It is alcohol still, I got one of them drinking problems, and I'm working on it. But I tell myself now that alcohol is not a part of my current goals. Drinking is not a part of my current health goals. Now to cut back also on pizza, but boy, those pizza buffets. But I'm doing good things for my health too. I've been bicycling almost every day, at least 6 miles. So I got that going.
Stopped equating health and beauty to fascism, because if health and beauty are fascism, what is unhealthiness and ugliness? Unfortunately, a big part of socially progressive ideology is dismantling hierarchies and norms and challenging what society sees as conventional, traditional, and beautiful. A really good example of this was those statues that were put up like all over different cities.
What? Well, there were those, first of all, can't statues just be a little bit more, what is it, abstracted? I want my statue to look more like a, what's his face? Not Dali, the other guy. Shit. Picasso. With where we are with society, this could have been 3D printed. We're even in our statue making, we're past the point of it looking good to be so realistic, in my opinion. You make this look like some sort of fertility totem from ancient times. That's what we should be putting in our cities. This realism is it's just too unnatural, honestly.
Like a frumpy woman in leggings. And the artist says the purpose of these was to challenge conventional beauty standards. And it's imagine looking like one of these women and then hearing oh yeah, this was put up to challenge beauty. What do you mean by that? Remember the whole body positivity movement 10 years ago? Remember all the fat influencers? Remember when every single ad was like this ad, for example? Calvin Klein's latest underwear campaign is breaking big boundaries. Big boundaries? Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean by that? Well,
yeah, the big didn't need to be there. It was implied by the picture.
Fashion is starting to seriously consider creating a more inclusive environment for consumers. There is still a huge mountain to climb before it is truly considered diverse. Huge mountain? No, that's just mean. And that's why Calvin Klein, probably the most famous name associated with underwear, just launched a groundbreaking campaign. Groundbreaking? Oh, come on now. The campaign is all about feeling free to express yourself, being uninhibited, and being provocative by challenging the norms we see on a regular basis.
I'm just going to guess that a woman wrote this. That's what I'm going to guess. And she's intentionally being very snarky about this. This is so woman coded in its writing. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
See? Challenging norms. It's all about challenging norms. This reminds me of that protein world controversy from 2015. Old heads will remember. I wrote an article about it for the Libertarian Republic. Wow, that was a long time ago. But anyway, a billboard with this ad for...
At least Shoe's opinions about libertarians, because if I had to put myself today in a box, I'd probably lean towards calling myself a libertarian. At least her opinions about libertarians comes from dealing with them face to face and on the internet, for over a decade now.
Protein powder supplement was put up and people lost their fucking minds. They vandalized it. They threatened to get a bunch of the employees fired. They threatened to go where the company was located with hammers, all because they committed the great crime of body shaming by daring to have a thin, attractive woman on their ad. This ad made other companies come out with their own like little virtue signaling things, like passive aggressive, like everybody is ready. Like every fashion magazine, every beauty magazine was pumping this out the time, just fat, 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 fat. The rise of like Tess Holiday and the hashtag F your beauty standards. Oh my god. You could not escape this. Also, suspiciously, body positivity only seemed to mean obese women.
Yeah.
But yes,
I mean, I will give him credit. I did think that the inclusion in public of people with, I forget the alopecia, maybe, or is that the hair thing? But, you know, the people who have like spotted skin, I think you mostly, I guess it probably goes both ways, but, you know, I mostly associate with black people who have like white splotches on their skin. And I think that was a nice, like, you know, that is a good way of saying challenge your perceptions of beauty. You know, it is kind of like a, hey, this person, because usually the person is very attractive when it comes to all their other features, and not to say that the skin isn't beautiful, but it's definitely like outside of the norm. And I think that's like one of those, hey, look for the diamond in the rough, or look past the imperfections, or let the imperfections be its own sign of beauty. Whatever you want to say, the uniqueness is part of the beauty, or it's incongruous with everything else. Yet again, a person it's about the entire thing. I shouldn't say nobody. It's like we sometimes joke that it's like, you know, just crop a woman down to her boobs, like a good looking woman down to her boobs, and just ogle them. But honestly, like, I don't know, I just want to get really under the hood here. But when I'm watching adult entertainment, I prefer if I could see the woman, you know, the feminine person's face throughout the procedure. I don't want to just see the back, the butt, the boobs, the action. I want to see the reaction. I want to see the beauty here as well. And maybe that makes me a fag.
everywhere you looked, it was like fat, 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 and everyone was like, yes, queen. Well, now we live in Ozempic world, and the fat acceptance movement seems to have died. Like many of the fat influencers, unfortunately. And these same types of people are like crashing out about the Sydney Sweeney ad because they really do feel like all the work they have done to like socially engineer people's behavior and preferences has been just like destroyed overnight. Who would win? Decades of propaganda? One big booby girl. I wrote in the...
I have this theory. I want to write it down really well and then deliver it, but I'll give you the rough draft. Humanity is a self-correcting machine. No matter the like propaganda that slams in your head, we will always be able to reset to the factory defaults. And that's like on a collective or individual basis. There's more to that theory. There's, that goes further than just that. But basically, you could tell somebody that they don't want, that meat is murder and it's disgusting and blah, blah, blah. And then you cook meat around them, and most people, if they are hardwired to eat meat, they're going to start salivating. It's only, I think the people who are more on a natural disposition to already want to go towards a non-meat lifestyle that can like hard commit and not have any regrets to vegetarianism. But I could be speaking out of my ass because I'm not a vegetarian, and I've never really given it a serious thought outside of my late teenage years when I thought I was going to become one of those punk rockers who's like a vegan style, I'm a vegan anti-capitalist type punk rocker, which I tried, but it was just not for me. And thus I am who I am today.
Old article, I can't say I'm too surprised at the backlash towards this model's body. We are living in a world where instead of striving to better ourselves and live a healthy lifestyle, praising obesity and unattractiveness is becoming the norm. Well, ShoeOnHead from 10 years ago, you will be happy to hear that it seems like it's no longer the norm. Because apparently not just American Eagle, but like Dunkin' Donuts and Arby's are using hot people in their ads again. Is the culture truly healing, or are we...
Sorry, I just like looking at the Arby's. I just ate and kind of a gluttonous meal, so it's probably not like the best time for me to look at food and actually want it. But that Arby's curly fry was just turned my stomach. It's like I had a flashback to having a bad one or something.
About to go into a deep financial recession. questions we should be asking. Angry Reddit freaks also doxed Sydney, looking through her voting records and found out she's a registered Republican. One of the most common things I saw about this were how, like, all the women getting mad about Sydney Sweeney were ugly, and I don't think that's true. There were some, like, pretty people in there. But it got onto this topic that I see all the time, and that is, why are liberal women so ugly? Leftists are ugly, conservatives are hot, which is not true, by the way. I was at January 6th, okay? But for the most part, stereotypes exist for a reason, right? Conservatives are, well, conservative with the way that they present themselves. They tend to follow norms and beauty standards, which is why, for example, the media called Hassan a, quote, progressive in a MAGA body. And how
being healthy, lifting weights, eating right, wanting to have a good, healthy body is not conservative, except from the perspective of maybe conservative people have a little bit more of respect for self-control, while liberal people supposedly, and not all, let's just say not all, but, like, liberal people are more likely to, or like at least coded to indulge and not have self-control. That's like maybe the one thing I could think that makes it to where you could think of a conservative as being, having like the body standards to be muscular and fit and healthy.
so many women on dating apps nowadays are looking for a man who votes Democrat but looks like a Republican.
Ooh.
Everyone is aware of the stereotypes. And with leftists, you know the stereotype, like the overweight, blue hair, nose ring. They're not all ugly, of course, but many purposely make themselves look ugly, because being ugly is saying f you to the man. Marcel Duchamp's art piece, Fountain, which was literally just a urinal, was a f you to art institutions and classical ideas of beauty. Those f-ass ugly concrete block brutalist buildings are another example. Brutalism emerged after World War II as a post-war modernist style, in part created as a f you to the classical architecture celebrated by, drumroll, the Nazis. Now think of those concrete buildings and the urinal and apply it to broader society. Basically, the blue hair and nose ring is a f you to, well, Sydney Sweeney. Hitler existed, so now everything has to be fat and ugly. Sorry. I don't know why so many on the left want to give the concept of beauty and health to the right, but it is not a winning strategy. Listen, I just want everyone's basic needs met, alright? I don't want people going in debt if they get into a car accident, or be homeless, or get sent to foreign wars. I didn't sign up for this stupid shit. It is funny though how like every time Sydney Sweeney is on camera, there's like a right-wing article like, woke is dead. Wokeness is no match for Sydney Sweeney's undeniable beauty. Our
undeniable knockers, woohoo!
Sydney Sweeney's breasts double D harbingers of the death of woke. Was that girl right about conservatives being boob guys? She might have been right after all. Honestly, this doesn't really make sense because, like, the left are the ones trying to normalize porn and, like, OnlyFans culture and stuff like that. If anything, there is too much boobs everywhere. We need to calm down a bit. But when it comes to Sydney's, like, classical bombshell beauty, like, I kind of get where they're coming from. Sydney Sweeney is a hot white woman who does not mind catering to the male gaze after we had a decade of hearing about how the male gaze is bad and toxic. A decade of hearing about how white people are bad and toxic. A decade of ugly, angry, fat androgyny seeping its way into every—
I'm just going to say that looks like what this person is wearing in this advertisement. If you were to have a scene in Star Wars at an Imperial gala, I could see somebody wearing that. The only thing is it might be showing too much skin. But that was far more like fascist coded than anything we just saw with Sydney Sweeney, in my opinion.
Thing in anything. When people say Sydney Sweeney is anti-woke, I don't even think they mean politically. I think they just mean like Sydney Sweeney is like looking into a time portal back to 1992, a time when porn addiction wasn't such a big issue. Every woman didn't show.
It wasn't as big of an issue, but it was a humongous fear amongst our parents. I should know. I had plenty of uncomfortable talks with my mother and stepdad in the room when they found my stash. And I'm not going to sit here and say that they were wrong at this point in my life. Oof.
her hole online for $5. Hookup apps didn't exist. It's like a bunch of millennials and Zoomers are longing for a time they never experienced. But yes.
Yeah, I think that would actually be the biggest death of Sydney Sweeney. I mean, she's shown her boobs. That's not, that's a little bit of a bridge too far. But if we were to see whole from Sydney Sweeney, I think that would probably end her career because it would dispel the magic. It's like, if anything, maybe it's like she can get away with it's almost more pure what she's doing, selling her sexuality with mystique, than it is with all these other women who basically are literally selling their sexuality. A clear line. It's like, pay $5, see whole, versus Sydney. It's like, gaze upon me while I seduce you into buying something. And maybe neither is better than the other. That's the fence sitter in me right there coming out. But it still is like, one is definitely seen as purer or higher class than the other. And so maybe it also comes down to, she's not having to sell her, or she gets to sell her body in a high class way. And thus all the women who are selling their body in a low class way are envious, jealous, and want to tear her down. Just jazzing here, though.
This is a cultural shift, but not necessarily a conservative one. Just a return to normalcy, a return to normal Americana consumerism. In 2065, conservatives are going to be posting people twerking return. These same TikTok freaks who are attacking Sydney Sweeney have been sounding the alarm about this cultural shift for some time now. And we see a bunch of celebrities embracing looking normal and healthy again. Demi Lovato is a perfect example of this. She was an obese, short hair, walking stereotype, crying about a frozen yogurt place, daring to sell sugar-free frozen yogurt.
I walked in, was so triggered that I left without froyo.
To now being skinny and healthy and married, and even making a TikTok dancing happily in that same frozen yogurt place.
The singer returning to the scene of the crime Wednesday, poking fun at herself on her socials.
That's part of the reason these people are freaking out and saying fascist aesthetics, because they know the chokehold they have had on culture is losing its grip. Inshallah. Once Sam Smith goes back to being normal, that's when I know the culture is healing. Thankfully, American Eagle did not bend the knee and did not apologize to the horde. In fact, they doubled down. Sydney Sweeney has great genes, is and always was about the genes. Her genes, her story. Wait a minute. Her genes, her story.
What?
HH.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Now, I can sit here and say the obvious, these corporations just want to pander to you, they just want to sell you yeah, obviously. But have you considered, it's good when corporations pander to me, personally? I just realized so much of American political discourse is, around f***ing corporations and ads. The Gillette...
Yeah, that is the sickness of our corpo capitalism hellscape. Whether you think the worst word in there is corpo or capitalist, it doesn't matter. It's that we sit back and complain about companies like the Cracker Barrel thing that just happened. I mean, and granted, I was it loses all its personality, but with the guy taken off, with the old man in the barrel taken out of the Cracker Barrel logo. But at the same time, why? Why do we care that much? Is that all American culture is our consumerism? We need to get everybody should be chopping wood, or everybody should have to I don't know, kill a cow for the meats that they're going to eat in a year or something. I don't know exactly what it is we need, but we need to have some cultural things. Every guy and girl should be part of the Scouts. Something we all need to rally around something that isn't a corporation, isn't a capitalistic endeavor. It's just a civic duty, or something we all do. Or if it is cultural, it needs to go back to I hate to say it, I'm not a huge fan of the company, but it's we should all be drinking Yingling or something, because we have to have something that's we all agree on. It's this is our this is our culture. We drink this beer because it's the first beer. Thomas fucking Jefferson was drinking this beer, or something to that effect. I don't even know if Yingling is actually that old. I just know it's from Philadelphia, so I assume as much.
Commercial, Bud Light, Protein World. There are so many examples. It's just crazy how so much of our politics revolves around consuming things. I will buy blue team products. I will buy red team product.
Yeah.
Bleak. In conclusion, we are tired of ugly. There's hot people in ads again. The white woman is back, baby. Let's go. 500 trillion more to Israel. Nobody can afford a fucking house. World is run by pedophiles, but woke is dead, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. So if you like this video, please subscribe and maybe donate to me on Patreon. Link down below. All Patreon members get the uncensored version of every single video a day early. So you get to hear all the fucks and uncensored. If you can't or don't want to do that, there's also a little tip jar down below. You can leave a little tip and I will give it a little heart. It helps the channel out and I appreciate it so much. Also, big shout out to Holtzkern again for sponsoring this video. Check them out, link down below. And I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!
I have a feeling that new video is going to change its subject matter completely. She's probably going to have to airdrop in to do a different topic entirely. Also, where is the VTuber one? Shoe. I'm going to give you a like, but I'm going to stop giving you a like until you get that VTuber one out there after the Charlie Kirk inevitable video.
Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican, has the hottest ad out there.
I cannot do a Trump impression to save my life. Okay.
She should. I bet you she could get a ringer for the Trump impression. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching Jolie's. Please like and subscribe if you get a chance. Also, I have a game that is very much. It's time to pre-order. It is hitting the seas soon, coming from China. See that ringer right here. I could do the Trump. But please take a look at that. There'll be a link down in the description, xseekersoffortune.com, if you want to learn more about my game. Like and subscribe to the video. I'm going to try to get back on the grind. I will say the recent news about Charlie Kirk, or the incident, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, has kind of reinvigorated me. But I mean, just a little peek behind the scenes. Since you've made it this far, you've probably already clicked off the video. I've just been trying to design the next game. And so every waking moment that I'm not working or doing marketing and other this and that for the current game, X Seekers of Fortune, I've been putting into designing the mechanics for the next one, which has distracted me from doing this. Plus, I did want to go back to the green screen. I love the green screen, but it is a little bit much to put up to do these. So I think I'm just going to try to do it like this for the time being. Anyways, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and enjoy yourself.